The Amazing Andra. Once, in a large kingdom named Muspelheim, there was a young man named Andra. All the people were in disarray and terribly afraid. A terrible dragon had come and put firewalls around the kingdom 18 years ago when Andra was born. Ever since then, the dragon would take every single king and queen they appointed and lift them over the firewalls to wherever he took them. Andra always wanted to become the king so that he could leave the horrible town, but he may not have that same opinion for long. Every day, Andra woke up to the terrifying sight that was his life. Nobody agreed to anything and never treated each other fairly. Andra worked as a farmer and planted the scarce amount of seeds they had of corn and other vegetables. Everything was running out, and no one knew what to do. The kingdom's river was dying out because of the heat of the firewalls, and it was always hot, making it hard for the soil to get water. The kingdom ran out of medicine and paper many years before. People died every day because of disease and starvation. Magic potions and wishes had to be stored in vaults because the wealthy people always wanted to get the potion that granted them health and food. Nobody took action because nobody wanted to get hurt, and didn't care to change it because they were afraid of the dragon. The dragon would come every day in the middle of the afternoon and just sit and watch the town to see if anybody had more authority than the others. And if he did see this, he would take them past the firewall and no one knew what else he did. One day, Andra woke up to the sound of fighting. He knew this familiar sound and just shut the windows and went about his regular morning routine. He still lived with his mom, so he got dressed and found his breakfast of a little piece of bread and 3 spoonfuls of corn on the table. That day, Andra's mom seemed a bit worried. "Mother, are you okay? You seemed a bit parched," asked Andra. "Yes, I'm fine, but I have to give you something," she said. From the bottom of the wood table she lifted a bright orange book that read, "Circus Private Journal! No access to anyone." She saw the confused look on Andra's face and understood clearly. "It's your grandmother's. She died along with the rest of the family when you were born, and when the dragon put the firewalls up," Andra's mom said. Andra was very surprised because he had never heard about anyone in his family except for him and his mom, and also because he never knew that his birthday was the same day that the firewalls were put up. The journal looked very fascinating, and Andra couldn't wait to crack it open. He opened the book to the middle of the pages, and he was blinded with magnificent colors and pictures. Andra's mom ripped the book from Andra's hands. "This book is very important. It will give you secrets that will help you become stronger and wiser and make the kingdom better." "Is this a journal? It can't do much," Andra thought, but it seemed interesting, so he thought that he would read it for a little entertainment that he rarely ever got. After work that day, Andra came home and started to read in the living room. The beginning of the journal started out with his grandmother being 40 years old and Andra's mom was 18. She rode on a magical horse that could fly and worked as a chef at a restaurant called Highbury. Andra was very surprised to read about the things his grandmother cooked. He was also surprised how happy everyone was, especially the elders, who were very sickly in his time because of the lack of vitamins. He was also surprised that they had such magical technology compared to the things they had around him, which included nothing magical. These surprises were very small once Andra found out that the townspeople's ancestors walked through fire in his grandmother's journal. At first he didn't believe it, but when he saw a picture of his grandfather walking through a fire pit, he was convinced. It read, "My dear Alcon has again walked through the fire pit. His French tribe but got burned at the first try. I guess Alcon just has a lot of courage because that's the only way he'd be able to. Unfortunately, the fire burns out when he walks through it." Andra quickly got up from his seat and ran out the door, yelling to his mom, "I'm going to walk through fire!" He ran to the firewall that was closest to his house, and when Andra looked at the giant boundary, he froze up. Not only did people burn trying to walk through it, but he was completely and utterly terrified and had no courage whatsoever. His mother arrived, excited to see her little boy doing something courageous for once. When she saw Andra's face, she knew that he was scared and cuddled him up in her arms. "Just read on, and you'll see what to do," she whispered. Andra looked at the next page in the journal, and it described all of the preparations his grandfather did before walking through the fire. After reading the list and taking a very large breath, Andra stood in front of the firewall, thought about getting to the other side, and thought about his family. He took 2 steps forward and ran through the fire. "I made it!" he yelled from the other side. In more than 3 seconds all of the firewalls crashed to the ground in ashes and smoke. Andra was surprised to see that the other side was just like his grandmother's journal described the kingdom of her time. Both sides of the kingdom were amazed by both of the sights that they saw. The people from both sides killed the dragon together, and that night there was a parade for Andra, celebrating his bravery and anointing the people back together. That night he was finally appointed king, and for a good reason, not to be put on another side of a firewall.